Hi and welcome to Winner's Corner. This Saturday we are going to spend at Åby Racetrack in Gothenburg. And we have a jackpot on V75, 4.7 million euros. Could be yours if you are the sole winner with 7 corrects on V75. We also have 2 huge favorites, and the question now is whether Mike is going to accept them as good bankers, or if he will go against one of them or 2 of them and give us an advantage towards the rest of the punters. Mike, what's it going to be?
Well, the 2 huge favorites do look really, really strong, but against one of them, I have a very interesting outsider.
Very well then, it will be exciting to see who it is. But for now, we start in race 5. It's V75-1, the silver division over long distance, and the favorite number 1, Velvet Geo, will be chased by many other fine horses. Mike, what have you decided to bet on in this race?
I think number 2, Velvet Geo, will be very difficult to beat here. He's an incredibly strong horse. He's in full form. The only minus is that he's going to have to wear shoes this time, but on the other hand, they're probably putting an American bike on him for the first time, so that kind of evens it out. So Velvet Geo, I think, will win this. But I'm going to combine him on a Quinella with a real outsider that I'm excited about. Number 7, Mr. Perfect. I've been following this guy for some time now, and he's got absolute perfect form. Last time he performed really strong. He got a very late opening there and finished real strong on the inside there. So he's in perfect form. He raced well with shoes on the last time as well, so he can handle that. This time, I think number 4 will take the lead here and surrender very early to number 2. Horses 3 and 6 aren't all that fast behind the gate, so I think Mr. Perfect can drop in a pretty good racing slot despite the difficult post here on the outside, benefiting from an inside scratch of number 5, of course.
So, Quinella bet suggestion here in race 5 on horse number 2, Velvet Geo, and number 7, Mr. Perfect, is how we start off this day. And we move on to the next race, race 6, V75-2, a class 2 race over 2,640 meters. And here we have one of the 2 huge favorites in this round. And we're talking about number 3, Arch Lane, trained by Timo Nurmos, driven by Björn Goop. And I now wonder if this is one of the horses that you are going to bank.
No, I'm not. This is a future superstar. He's phenomenal. I really love the horse, but he is young and inexperienced. He's traveling far this time, all the way to Gothenburg. He's only traveled outside of Solvalla once before, and that time he didn't work at all. He just went off stride and didn't trot at all. So a bit of a minus there with the travel. Since then, since that last failure, he's been castrated, and that's, of course, on the plus side. But I've got an outsider that I'm very excited about here, Maria. Number 6, Vikings Preacher. This guy looks very promising. He really improved last time. He was 3 wide the first 500-600 meters through the first turn, then was first on the outside all through the trip, took down a pretty good horse over the final stretch and held off against the horse who had been right behind him in the wind there, so to speak. And that was very, very impressive. He's fast from the start. We got the circular start here. He's got the best post of them all. I think he's going to head to the lead right away. And after that, I think he could be pretty difficult to take down, especially, of course, Arch Lane can do it if he works out properly. But I'm betting that he has a bad day and doesn't like the long haul. In that case, I think Vikings Preacher will come out on top here.
So Mike goes for a real outsider here in the 6th race of the day, and that with horse number 6, Vikings Preacher. And if he wins, we get a good grip on this round, Mike. Yeah, we move on to race 10. It's the 6th leg in the V75 round, and what do you want to do here?
Well, this is an extremely even race here. I would say that more or less anyone in this race has the capacity to win this. And then I've got an outside that I feel is quite overlooked. So I'm going to go for a Quinella at very high odds here. I think number 10, Claude Debussy, deserves to be one of the favorites in this race and is completely overlooked by the early bettors, at least. The horse has great form. Last time and the time before that, there was a lot of talk about him coming into this race. He'd been training good. He felt good and everything. And then he got pretty difficult trips there, but still showed a bit of form when the opening came late there as 4th. Big minus that he's going to have to wear shoes this time, but still with these high odds, I'm going to take my chances on this one. Claude Debussy.
And you pair him up then with who?
Against all the horses here. I think it's a wide open race, and we're getting very high odds on any Quinella that we have with Claude Debussy. So I'm going to use him against all the horses and hope he finishes in the top 2.
So a Quinella bet suggestion here in race 10 with horse number 10, Claude Debussy, and all the other horses. This leads us in on the daily double, since race 10 equals DD1. And if we look at your system, Mike, we can see that you go for a banker here in the first DD leg on number 10, Claude Debussy.
Yeah, when you have an idea, you might as well follow it all the way through. I think he's got a good chance to win it. It's a tricky post, of course. He needs a bit of luck, but Jorma Kontio driving, also a driver in full form and a horse in form. So I like the odds.
DD2 is the bronze division race, full distance, and here number 2 Tuxedo B is the favorite at the moment of recording this program. And you don't agree? We can see we're looking at your DD system.
Yeah, well, I think for me it's a 2-horse race really, and I'm going to go for the one with the higher odds. I think it's a big minus for Tuxedo B to have to wear shoes all around, and I think Exclamation Mark has a very good chance to take the lead. And Exclamation Mark came back last time after a bit of a layoff. He needed that race, but he really looked good. He got a bit of a prepare drive from Ulf Olsen, and once the opening came, I really liked the way he accelerated there over the final stretch, and I think he's going to move up in form quite a lot. Reijo Liljendahl's horses usually do. They're usually very hard trained, but they need a race or two before they're back in full form. So from the lead here, I think Tuxedo B has his work cut out for him to take down Exclamation Mark. I think it's going to be difficult.
And this means that we have one high potential single bet combination for the daily double this Saturday. The V75 round this Saturday, we've already mentioned it, it holds a very nice jackpot, 4.7 million euros to a single winner with 7 correct. And Åby racetrack, it is a nice track regarding these high payouts, because this is the track that has produced the highest payout ever, and that was 6.7 million euros back in 2010, Mike. This round has the theoretical potential of getting into the top 3 of the biggest payout. What is the chances for that, you think?
Well, the super favorites do look very strong, and I'm going to bank one of them and go against the other one. But I think there's a big risk that we don't see such a high payout. But, you know, on the V75 with the jackpot round, we saw that last week, even with several favorites winning, you can still get very nicely rewarded as long as you got all 7 right. That's the tricky part.
And let's now see how you've built up your system. 2 bankers, we can see that you have. We've already talked about one of them, number 2, Velvet Geo, in the first leg. And your second banker is then, of course, Nadal Broline, number 1 in V75-3. The biggest favorite of the day. Is he unbeatable?
Yeah, of course he's not unbeatable, but he's got a very good chance here. The inside draw could be a bit tricky for him, but with a small field and such an uneven field even, I think there's a big chance that Erik Adielsson can guide him off the inside here and doesn't risk getting locked in. A very uneven and low-grade gold division this week, and Nadal Broline is up against much easier horses than he's been in any race this year so far. So I think he's got a good chance to win it with the form he showed last time.
Another race that we haven't talked about yet is the 4th leg. It's a race for 3-year-old horses that have earned less than 300,000 Swedish crowns. You solved this with 4 marks. Want to tell us a little bit about your choices?
Well, yeah, the Dutch guest looks really good, Veltenverzij there, and then Robert Berg's horse Rudisha is a very strong contender who showed form last time as well. Ameridienne we've seen at Solvalla many times, an extremely promising horse for Normos and Kontio, but once again a young horse that travels far, only 3 years old and always difficult on the V75. But there's another 3-year-old here that the bettors have completely missed, at least the early bettors. Number 10, Credit Cone, pretty skilled young horse with a lot of experience from the States, showed good capacity last time, a good race in Norway. Frode Hamre sounds pretty optimistic and says that this is a really good horse, and reading between the lines, I think he's got a future star here. So look out for that outsider, completely overlooked in the early bets at least.
The 5th leg is a race for mares, and here we have a favorite in number 8, Stonewashed Diamant, despite her poor starting position, and we can see that you think that we should use quite a few marks here.
Yeah, I think this is wide open. Waffle Cone is really fast from the start, will take the lead and can do a lot better than what she did last time in her debut for Adrian Colgjini. Ile Saint Louis is always a strong contender. Bikini, a Danish guest, much better than you can tell from the race card, had an excellent year last year and then this year has failed quite a bit. But if that horse comes back into form now as winter's approaching, I think that one is the one to mark if you want to win big.
So, to conclude Mike's V75 system this Saturday, we have 2 bankers, we have a few very nice outsiders, and we have 576 combinations. Thank you, Mike. Let's keep our fingers crossed now that we'll get some part of that jackpot money. And of course, you can find out more about Swedish trotting and horse betting at our website, swedishhorseracing.com. And we wish you, of course, the best of luck now in chasing down that jackpot money. Bye-bye.